Fading Twilight event bow that we get from our 2.7 Archon quest and event main event basically Perilous Trail. So hopefully most of you have completed it already. The event is still lasting on for a little while longer, so feel free to make sure that you get this. And also during the event period, you do get 1.5 times the experience bonus for leveling this up, which means that you get to save resources when leveling it up. So it's better to do it during the event. We do get it to R5, so make sure that you get that at least. And if you can't get it to level 90, then make sure you get it to at least level 70 or 80, I recommend, and getting all the refinement materials and completing the event. So good luck to you for that. Now, having said that and having that out of the way, make sure that you guys are subscribed, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and leave me comments and questions about it. And what do you guys think about this bow? I think it's a good bow. It's not going to be the best bow, but it's a good bow, and it's free. It's completely free, right? So why not, right? So let's just get into this. In this video, I'm going to be talking about it in comparison to all the other bows that are currently existing in the game. I will shy away from talking about it in comparison to 5-star bows because I don't think that it's comparable, to be very honest. Even at R5, it's not comparable to, in my opinion at least, it's not comparable to an R1 5-star weapon. So I would just say, so that's why I want to make it more fair in this video. Also, in some of my feedback in my other videos, where I recently did a bunch of videos on weapons. I talk about Aqua Simulacra and the Primordial Jade Wing Spear. So some of those videos did get a little bit longer and too in the detail, so I want to make this one a little shorter as well. But mind you, those are 5-star weapons, so it's worth it to spend a little more time, just so I make that clear. So this is a discussion video, so on the screen you'll just be seeing the weapons, really. But yeah, hear me out, please. Okay, here we go. So the Fading Twilight, as you can see, is an energy recharge substat bow. I have it already fully refined and fully maxed out, okay? Basically, it has 3 states, and basically it will continue to accumulate more stacks for you every 7 seconds. This is actually a very familiar mechanic to I'm going to bring it up here, to this, the Primordial Jade Wing Spear, which is a 5-star weapon, because this also has something similar, like every 6 seconds in this case, it creates a stack. And similarly to the Lost Prayers book here, the Catalyst is similar. You gain this by just having it by being on the field, okay? This doesn't say that in the passive description, but technically it is how it works because you gain stacks when this is on the field. So you do need to have this on the field and then it will gain stacks. So that's a very straightforward thing. And now at least it is damage, okay? It increases damage, not attack percentage. So damage is actually better, in my opinion, than attack percentage because not all characters can utilize attack percentage. Case in point, Yelan actually does not do so well with attack percentage. She does better with HP percentage and HP stats. So, and of course, energy is a given, right? So that's fine. So I would say this is a good bow for Yelan, and since she's on the screen and she's the current newest character, but I would say it's not going to be her best, of course. But it's a good bow for a placeholder. Now, this bow is a very good universal placeholder for many, many characters. But as you can see on the bottom right of the screen, I did equip it on Kujo Sara. And in my opinion, it's best for Kujo Sara because in her kit, she needs energy. And because we put Emblem of Severed Fate set on her, then she'll benefit from the energy recharge substat. And she does benefit from the attack and or damage passive more so than Yelan would. So that's why I put that on her. Plus also it's a very supportive bow. And actually, if I just bring her up on the screen, she actually looks really good with the bow. It actually looks good with her outfit. It matches. The gold trim and the white and the beige, it matches with her. So it actually works out really well for her kit. So I, first of all, want to put that out of the way that I think Fading Twilight is like her best weapon so far. I originally had her with the Hamayumi, and we'll talk about that next. The Hamayumi is a mini Amos bow. I've mentioned that time and time again. But depending on how you use the character, you may not use her for normal attacks. Actually, I previously thought that I wouldn't use Yelan's normal attacks, but I do actually. So it's actually not a bad bow for her too. But Yelan doesn't benefit from the attack percentage. And I've already talked about Yelan's review, so do check that out. I've also talked about the Aqua Simulacra versus other bows, so check those videos out because those are more specific. The Aqua Simulacra video is not about it's not, obviously it's best for Yelan, but it's not specifically talking about Yelan, it's about all characters. But this video is going to be similar. It's going to be talking about all characters that are bow users for the Fading Twilight. So Fading Twilight cannot compete with Amos's bow even, because Amos's bow is obviously a very specific bow. Its attack percentage, it has normal and charge attack passive. It's not going to be directly competing with that. It cannot compete with even the Elegy, which is an energy recharge, but it has a elemental mastery and attack bonus passive and a movement speed passive, so that's not directly comparable either. And definitely, I would say the Elegy is also a very niche weapon. I would say I would skip talking about it in that sense. And similarly, the Polar Star, Aqua Simulacra, and Thundering Pulse are not comparable. They're all very niche specific weapons for certain characters. And although they can be considered universal in some cases to be damage stat sticks, but they're not necessarily comparable to a 4-star weapon, of course, right? So that's why we're gonna kind of shy away from that. There's one 5-star bow that I don't have, which is the Skyward Harp, and that's also a very universal weapon, which is also good, and that has a crit rate substat and crit rate passive and attack passive. That's a really great bow, and again, that's still better than the Fading Twilight. So that's why I want to just wrap that up here. With 4-star bows, though, the Fading Twilight really compares best to, I would say, where is it? Let me bring it up here. It compares best to Sacrificial Bow because it's energy recharge subset. This gives a second elemental skill, and this is actually a pretty good bow for Yelan as well. But also best for, in my opinion, for Diona, or any of the characters that you want to do the skill multiple times for potentially. So I could see it being useful for Aloy if you use her that way, or Goro as well. And then Goro is good for the Favonius Warbow, which is also very comparable to the Fading Twilight because it's energy substat. Now with the Favonius Warbow, you do need to have a crit rate up so that you can get the passive more often to get more energy back, but it's a good thing to do. So I think these are all comparable bows, and I would put this Fading Twilight in class with those two weapons. I would say that it's actually not even comparable to the Windbloom Ode, which is a cheaper, basically a free version of the Stringless. Those two are in the class of their own, and those two are comparable to the Elegy, especially for Venti, right? So I would leave that there, and these three weapons, so Elegy, Windbloom Ode, and Stringless are better for Venti, but also good for like characters like Fischl, right? Characters that you would actually use like their elemental damage for. So that's how I would put it. The Moon's Moon is best for characters that you focus on their burst. So if you're doing their burst DPS, so that's why I put it on my Aloy, as you guys know already. I've already done that in previous videos. I already talked about that. So I would say the Fading Twilight doesn't really compare to this. This is again another attack percentage bow with an attack bonus and elemental burst damage bonus. So this doesn't do much for normal and charge attacks, right? So and I would also say for the Blackcliff Warbow and another bow that I don't have, which is the Viridescent Hunt, the Battle Pass weapon. Those are the crit damage. This one, and the other one is a crit rate bonus weapon. Those bows are not comparable because they're more damage focused and they're more like stat sticks, so they're more for DPS characters. I would say the Fading Twilight suits best for a support role character that won't have too much on-screen time, even though this passive requires them to be on-screen, but because you're not going to really use them that much, or if you want to use them, at least then you get some. I will say also the passive is very unstable in the sense that you have to wait, and you really aren't going to just wait around 7 seconds just to get the higher bonus, or therefore in this case wait 14 or 21 seconds to get the max bonus, so it's not really worth it in that sense. You would just use it and then swap the character out. So it's perfect for characters that need the energy recharge substat like Kujo-Sara. This will not be comparable to other attack-oriented bows like the Compound Bow for physical damage, the Prototype Crescent, which I don't own, but the other craftable is for weak point damage only, and that's a very niche bow as well. And then last but not least, we'll talk about the Alley Hunter, which is a limited series bow, and this is for off-field characters. This is good for Fischl. This is good for any other character that throws out like some kind of extra thing on off-field, such as maybe even like her Amber's like puppet, or anything that any of the other characters can leave behind. So maybe even Aloy's like ice bombs, right? But most of the other characters don't really leave anything else on the field. So that's why this is a very niche weapon, Alley Hunter, and that's why I didn't bother building it, but I only got one of it anyway. Predator Bow doesn't, we shouldn't even talk about this because this is Aloy's bow, and this only works on PlayStation Network, as you can see in the blue there. And so the very last weapon to talk about is the Rust, and the Rust is a normal attack focused bonus bow, and this was good for Child and Yoimiya basically, and could also arguably be okay for Yelan, but it is an attack percentage bonus, so it's not really the best for her. So I would shy away from that for her. But yeah, I would just really just say that, and just to wrap this up to make this quick as well and easy, the Fading Twilight is a good bow to have. Make sure that you guys do get it maxed out. Anytime there's an event weapon bow, make sure you finish the event and get the weapon leveled up during the event period. Make sure that you do put it on a character that it's suited for. In this case, I highly recommend putting it on Kujo Sara more than any other character in the roster. But it's a good universal bow, it's a good placeholder bow, and it's a good starter bow. Yeah, but eventually you're going to get better bows for other characters and that are more niche and specific for their kits. And so the Fading Twilight at this stage in my game, where I'm AR 60 already, and I have, as you can see, a lot of bows and a lot of characters, I have all the characters up to this point. So I would say I think that this is a great bow for Kujo Sara, but you could again put it on possibly Goro maybe, maybe Ember if anyone uses her, maybe Official, yeah, that's fine, and maybe an Aloy. If you wanted to put it on a 5-star character, yeah, Aloy's a 5-star character, but like Ganyu could be okay with it, but obviously it's not her best. I mean, Ganyu arguably would do better if you don't have any 5-star bows. Ganyu would do better with a Hamayumi because it's a mini Amos bow in my opinion, right? Or she would also do well. With even like a Black Cliff Warbow, honestly, for the crit damage subset, just for the stat alone, right? Some people have also used her for like the stringless, which is also good, and the Wind Bloom, which not many people have anymore because this is a really early game event bow, right? And then like again, these other characters, I won't even go too much into detail, but these 5-star characters have their niches and they have obviously like alternatives. Like Venti could be on stringless or Wind Bloom Ode, Child could be on the Rust, Yoimiya could be on the Rust, and Yalan could be on Amos bow or Hamayumi, I would say, for the normal aspect, or I would put her, if I didn't have her Aqua Simulacra, what I did have her on was, I was going to consider, because I have the second elegy, I was going to give her the elegy, but if we're only talking about 4-star bows, actually, I was told, and I actually tried it out too, actually she does really well with these stringless as well, so there you go. So there are other better bows than the Fading Twilight for the other characters, hence the Fading Twilight by default will go to Kujo Sara here. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. Do you guys have a preferred character that you want to put Fading Twilight on? Do you guys like the bow so far? Have you put it on 5-star characters? Do you like it on the 5-star characters? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much, and do check out my other videos.